Hi there, everyone. So this is an interesting one for you. It takes 29 days to sell a home in Fife. That's interesting for you to know, because if you're a homeowner or perhaps a landlord and you're thinking about selling, one of the first questions that you'll often ask is a really simple one, and that is, how long will it take? The honest answer is actually, it really depends. It depends on your location. It depends on your property type. It depends on the number of bedrooms that you may have, price points, and also the marketing conditions all play a part in how long it may take you to sell your property. So, to give Fife Homeowners some clarity, we've analysed the data, and Jim and I are going to present some interesting facts to you that might just help you along the way with your decision making. And if we look at that data, we've compared it to 59 homes in Fife. We've looked at building plots, we've looked at commercial units, we've even looked at mobile homes, and they've all subjectly sold to missives in the last 3 months. And that covers all 5 towns as well. So it's going to give you a real good flavour of the whole radius of Fife in regards to the type of the property, the number of bedrooms, and what it might look like for you. Of the properties that have sold subject to missives, the overall average time from when it comes to market to the actual sale being agreed is 29 days, and that's on average. And this is split into various ways, and that can be split into the type of property and also the number of bedrooms that you may have. And Jim and I will talk about that. So if we're going to talk about the average time to sell a property by type, it's going to be kind of our starter for 10. What's your thoughts on that, Jim?
Now, starter for 10, it depends if I can get back on the screen.
I know, we seem to have lost you.
I do not know what's happened to my camera. For some
You've
reason,
sold
it's just not playing ball with me at all. But my thoughts on this, just to give you an indication about properties that have sold subject to missives, you said it's 29 days and split it into the following types. I mean, the average time to sell a property in Fife is really, I mean, it's seven properties sold subject to missives. The average time to sale agree is 44 days. 20 properties took 20 days. That was semi-detached, and 5 properties took 24 days. That was terraced houses and townhouses, and flats and apartments. 23 properties of them sold, and actually it took 38 days on average as well. That's actually quite surprising.
I think it is quite surprising, but I think the thing that doesn't surprise me is the detached homes take the longest, so they're 44 days. And you would anticipate that, actually, because detached homes, really by the way that they are, generally are larger family homes. So your detached properties in general will have 3+ bedrooms, maybe 3 up to 6 bedrooms. So it's no surprise that they're taking slightly longer at 44 days. You would anticipate that because they're family homes, they're going to have a higher price point. They're more desirable to larger families. And also, actually, when you think of the generational thing that we have just now, where people have the situation where potentially they are downsizing, those are the types of properties that 9 times out of 10 will come to market. So it is no surprise that those ones are taking longer at 44 days to sell. And the one that I'm really not surprised at is actually the semi-detached home. That is the quickest selling property. Your semi-detached house will actually sell in 20 days. For me, that's no surprise. With a semi-detached house, you're actually getting so much more for your money. You're getting great family homes. They generally will have 3 bedrooms on average. You will get larger and sometimes smaller, but in general, your semi-detached will have 3 bedrooms. They're great family homes. You usually have a lot of outside space. With that outside space, you generally have driveways as well, because just in the nature of how they're designed, you've got the building, it's split into 2, semi-detached to either side. You will have that driveway there, so you're getting your off-street parking. You normally have really good garden space with them as well, so you generally will always have a front garden. You'll have a side garden with driveway potentially, and you'll also have a rear garden. So your semi-detached house actually does offer so much more for families. I was just saying there, Jim, that it's not a surprise that your detached homes are your ones that are taking the longest at 44 days.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Detached homes are obviously higher priced, as you know.
And
Exactly.
that makes a significant difference to where the market is right now. Interestingly, the HPI for the government, the Scottish House Price Index, actually favoured the highest rise, the fastest rise in prices to date so far this year, year on year, is actually terraced houses. And they are actually saying the same thing. The detached houses have maybe peaked and reached their highest level.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying as well when you were offline there fixing yourself. With the detached house as well, what we're seeing with those types of properties, they generally have 4 bedrooms or more, don't they? So they are much higher in price point. But also you've got the situation where we're seeing downsizers who are selling up their detached, and it's generally families that are maybe increasing their family size that move to those properties. But because there's such a high price point, that sometimes can be a bit problematic in regards to affordability for some, can't it? But
Yeah.
what I was also saying there as well though was with the semi that wasn't a surprise, the fact that detached was longer. What also is not a surprise is that semi-detached, as I was saying earlier, are actually moving the fastest because, as I said earlier, you're getting so much more for your property and for your money. I was just saying as well with the semi-detached, that was not a surprise that that's the fastest selling, because with a semi-detached you get so much house for your money and also ground space. 9 times out of 10 they've got 3 bedrooms or more. You've also generally got garden to the front, side and rear, and you'll also have a driveway, so it ticks a lot of boxes for buyers, a semi-detached, doesn't it? So it's not a surprise that that's
Yeah.
the quickest selling.
It's the price differential between semi and detached is quite a big price differential.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've actually got the details here. The stats for the house price index. If I could see where we are right now. Detached, semi-detached. So detached properties up to the collation of the November 2025, which is as far as they've got so far. A detached property on average in Scotland was 351,000, and a semi-detached property was 219,000.
Big difference, isn't it?
Like, geez, that is a huge differential.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about 132 grand difference in the average price between
Yeah,
detached and semi-detached. Is this because though that most house builders are maybe building detached?
very much
Is,
so,
is,
and you
is the
definitely see
mix
that.
is the mix maybe like that? The mix
Mm-hmm.
is maybe they're building a lot of detached, more than likely, because there's still, I know it sounds daft to say this, there's still affordability with some people, because you've got the upgraders who have actually got a built up equity. Because I mean, there's no surprise when I say equity prices and property prices have actually grown quite substantially in the last 5 to 10 years. So there'll be a lot of equity built up in somebody's
Mm-hmm.
existing property they want to resale. Therefore, it allows them to easily upgrade to a detached property, because most might be in a terraced or a semi-detached as it is, and they'll think, well, I kind of want. I mean, everybody. It's the old thing about your home is your castle, if that makes
Yeah.
sense,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the dream for most
Yeah,
people to
I
have the
completely
detached
agree.
and the ultimate for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's another story to say that maybe you're pushing yourself beyond the limits, trying to go for that detached at 350,000 and a semi-detached is 219,000.
Mm-hmm.
But it's each to their own, I suppose. And if you can afford it and you've got the equity in to do it, then that obviously does that for you.
It really
Definitely.
does actually, and I think that's key with regards to the equity side of things. As you mentioned, I was at a client the other day, and they're exactly in that position. So they're looking to have more living space, and they were exploring potentially extending their property or moving to a larger detached property that gives them that extra living space. It's not necessarily bedrooms that they want; it's living space.
Yeah.
And they're in a great position. The property they're in at the moment, they bought it since it was built. So they've gained a great deal of equity in that property. So they can then pass that growth that they've managed to achieve in their property onto the new house. So technically, they're almost able to move without any real increase in their mortgage as such, if you know what I mean, or their debt commitments, because they've got so much equity in their house. So it has
Yeah.
actually benefited them.
Yeah. That's yeah, definitely. So where does that leave us then in terms of this? In terms of it takes 29 days to sell a home in Fife. Because is it is it a bit of a misleading statement? I mean, is it always going to be 29 for people?
No, it varies. It completely varies.
Because I could hear people out there saying right now it's taking me a year and I've still not got it sold.
It completely
and
varies.
and my argument to that is you're maybe refusing to move your price point. That's possibly why. Or there's a strong possibility you're not taking the advice of your estate agent and you're just not listening. And you probably need to listen. If they're talking about maybe to declutter, or they're maybe talking about you need to be flexible in your entry date because you're rigid in what you're doing. So listen to your estate agent. You employed them in the first place. That's what they're there for. They're the specialist, and dare I say, for the majority of you, you're not. You don't understand this market.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And it's very interesting because actually what you'll find, and certainly when we go out to see clients, they will have a view on it. And generally that view is a third party view. It's someone has told them and it's not an expert that's told them.
Their
And so they
best
think they
friend in
know
the
it.
pub.
Yeah. So they think that they've got this good knowledge when actually it isn't the case. But you're right. I mean, a lot of it is down to how your property is presented. There are certain locations that might take longer. There's certain price points, as we know, that we're seeing that will take slightly longer. But actually, it can also come into play with regards to actually the size of the house and how many bedrooms it has. That can play an impact as well of how long it will take to potentially sell, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So if we look at, for instance, a one-bedroom home, one sold subject to missives in that timeline that we're speaking about, and it took 21 days. If we then jump to your two bedrooms, 31 two-bedroom houses sold, and the average time that they took to sell was 36 days. So that's actually longer than the average of 29. You jump to your three-bedroom homes, 22 sold in the timeline that we're speaking about, and the average time for them to sell was 24 days. I would say that's probably because that group are the ones that are dropping into that semi-detached bit at the 20 days. Because your
Possibly,
three
yeah.
bedrooms, roughly on average, your three bedrooms will be your semi-detached. Then your
Interesting,
four bed.
though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 4-bed is quite interesting, isn't it? But then it's only 2 of them, and it was 11 days. So it
Yeah,
might have been the 2 special ones that came on the market at that point in time in a 4
yeah.
bedrooms.
Mhm.
But with the average family actually decreasing in size, the nuclear family or whatever they call it, if they're decreasing in size, why does there seem to be some sort of bigger demand for detached houses and more rooms? Is that a lot to do with people want a special room for themselves? They want a home office possibly because they work from home.
Yeah.
They want a home gymnasium because they're there, or they want their own TV room, their own social room. It's like when someone else is watching Traitors, you can go and watch something else. It's like, that's my dilemma. When Elaine's watching Traitors, it's like I can go and watch something else.
You're actually spot on with that, Jim, because I was doing a viewing this morning, and actually it's a young couple with their first child, and they've looked at a 4-bedroom, 3-reception house today. And what they basically had said to me is, firstly, Dad needs a home office. So tick, that's one of the bedrooms taken up. They want a separate playroom for the child. Tick, that's one of the rooms taken up. They want additional bedrooms available when their family come to stay because they live out of area. So they need that additional space. They are now into gardening because they're at that stage now in their lives where they've now got their family growing. So they want to be able to go out into the garden and grow things. So they need additional space for that. So suddenly the wish list becomes, you're laughing because I know you're not into your garden, but suddenly the
It's
wish
not
list
that. It's
becomes
not.
so
You know
long.
what I'm laughing at? It's like, I was forced to share a bedroom with my brother until we both left the house.
I know.
And it's
Me too.
nowadays, it's like, oh, so and so is like 3-year-old and they've got to have a separate bedroom. And it's like,
Yeah,
what? They've even got to have a double bed.
I know.
Really?
Well, I shared a bedroom with two sister siblings. So there was 3 of us, 3 single beds in 1 bedroom.
Aye.
So
Let's
it was
be
a
careful
switch.
we didn't have a monathon.
we're of that generation, I think, Jim. That's the problem.
But it's the compromise though for people that do want affordability. I mean, affordability seems to be a thing in the marketplace, but I'm not really seriously convinced about the affordability thing, especially if you've got the average house price in Scotland being 193,000. I mean, that's below the 6 times multiplier versus average salary. So average salary times 6 times comes to more than 193,000. So that's actually really affordable in comparison. Because remember before, I was saying it was about 5.5 to 6 before, and now it's sitting at 5.5, about that, and not even at 6 anymore. So it's almost, I could say, it's becoming more affordable to buy a house than it
Yeah.
was 5 years ago. And people will actually argue with that, but I would argue then is like, where what do you actually need versus what you actually want? Because if you look at what you need, you'll probably find it's affordable, very affordable. But what you want is a totally different thing. That's a wish. And sometimes you have to compromise in order to achieve that. So, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking about. It's whether you think, I mean, you go to Glenrothes, you can get a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom mid-terrace house for 100 to 130 grand. It's like, and that's a family home for some people. Some people have actually lived in them all their life.
Yeah.
Front and back garden, easy access into the town centre, easy transportation out to the A92 and all the rest of it. And it's a similar sort of position. Kirkcaldy's probably a bit dearer, because it's nearer the shorefront. And as you go into the Cooper area, you're nearer St Andrews, so it goes a bit dearer as well. But still affordable, and it's central Fife as well.
Yeah, I agree. There is good affordability here. And I think actually then that is the reason why some will actually push themselves to complete that wish list. We can have all these additional things because it's so affordable for us. And I think that's what happens. And then they push the boundaries a little bit. And I think as well, to be honest with you, I think the whole lifestyle change for people as well. I know we talk about it and it was 5 years ago, but since COVID as well, I think a lot of people now have different requirements from their home, because their social circle has changed, their social activities have changed, their requirements that they have from their home are very much different from home offices, working from home, from relatives staying with you now. It became very much more family orientated, everyone living together. So I think there's a big element of that as well. And also the outside space has really come into play more than I think it ever did for families, because they want that outside garden room, or they want that social space to be able to enjoy their family and have their family and friends over, because people got into that lifestyle. And also, to be honest with you, I think as well, and I'm sure you'll agree on this, Jim, I think people realised, because they weren't going out to the cinema, to the restaurants, to the pubs, to the bars, spending all their free cash, they were keeping that money because they couldn't do it and they couldn't go anywhere to spend it. I think people have now realised actually how much additional money they can have if they put their mind to something, rather than just spending it instantly like they were previously. There's more thought goes into that now than there maybe was before.
Yeah, so that's probably why the message is clear then, that semi-detached houses, 4 bedrooms, are currently the fastest movers because of that, because people want these sort of houses. But the semi-detached, obviously more affordable in comparison to the detached itself. So why do some Fife homes then take longer to sell? We touched on that eventually anyway. I mean, is it no putting the right portals? I mean,
I think it is that. I think it's, I think for me, it's the complete package of how you market your property. And I think you've got to have that correct strategy. If you're just simply putting them on a portal and keeping your fingers crossed and hoping that your house is going to sell, and that can happen, then actually you've really limited yourself. So by that, I'm talking about you've listed it on Rightmove, you've listed it on Zoopla, and you're just kind of sitting, wait now for the phone to ring. If that's all you're doing, then that would be a reason potentially for why you're not selling. Exactly, you're crossing your fingers.
You need it's the one that I sometimes become concerned about is when you do hear the stories when someone goes to an estate agent and they get the estate agent to put their house in the market. The estate agent comes along and says, "Could you share it on social media, on your channels?" And immediately they go, "Well, what have I got you for?" And I'm like, but that it costs you nothing to share your post on the social media, on your social media channel. And even though you've got about 80 friends or 90 friends, you'll be surprised if you say, "That's my house on the market, go and do me a favor and give it a share." And what will happen is you'll give it a share on yours, and you've maybe got 1,000, 3,000 followers. So you're taking theirs on a small followers, you're getting more followers, and then that's multiplying up. And then the next one, you've got about 10, maybe 20,000 views just out of organic share. And it might not everybody's going to be interested, but the algorithm picks that up. So it's so important that you do yourself a favor, and irrespective of what estate agent you pick, you share it on your social media channels. You might not think that you have that presence online, but the algorithm picks up other people that might be interested because you're sharing it. That's all it's down to. So just, and it's easy as that. Don't feel offended if people don't share it. Don't feel it's that. Maybe it's the fear of maybe nobody will share it. And it's like, I'm no wanted. Some people think like that. That's how, because so they don't do it in case no one shares it, and it's like, I've got no friends.
I know.
It's that sort of thing. But share it anyway, because you never know who's going to see it. It's only one person that's going to buy it at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It
And I think
might
for
be the
me,
person you know. Believe it or not, I think the majority of houses are sold, and we look at the stats, and we might pick these up one day. I think the majority of houses are sold to people that know people.
yeah, I would agree with that, because actually I'll take people on viewings who are maybe out of area, and they've said, oh God, it was just fortunate because actually a friend of my daughter's shared it and that's how I saw the video. Otherwise I wouldn't have known the house was for sale. So it does happen. And I think as well, what you say there about people, it's about a kind of popularity thing as well. They get a bit anxious about putting it out there and no one likes it. But if you think about it logically, even if you put it out there and 200 people like it, imagine what that 200 people would look like if they were standing in a room.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of shares that you've had. And that's a lot of people that have seen it.
It'd be huge. If somebody walked into a room with 200 people in it, everybody, people go, whoa, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
It's like there's too many people here.
Yeah.
But the reality is, that's what you're getting when you're getting these views.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine? Think about it. If you get, we get videos that get some 40,000 views. I mean, imagine just 15,000. That's the size of the hydro. That's 15,000 views. That is the size of the hydro in Glasgow, the main concert venue. That's you filling the hydro. So when you're getting 45,000 views, you're filling the hydro three times the amount of people for the hydro are actually seeing your property online.
Exactly. And that's massive when you think about it in those terms, but it's not always seen in that way, is it? So for me, absolutely. Why does some take longer? It could be because they've just put it on a portal and you're keeping your fingers crossed that won't wash. The longer you take to sell a property as well, there's some honest, really soul searching, I think, for me, that needs to take place, doesn't there? If it's failing to sell, there's a couple of things you need to look at. The first thing is, we call it 3Ps, don't we? Are you happy with your pictures? Because that's the biggest thing. Are you happy with how it's being promoted? So with that, we're talking about your description. Is there really grabbing headlines there? Is there something that's stopping a viewer from just swiping onto the next house? Is there your video work? Your video marketing and the reach that we've just talked about that you can get with that as well. Firstly, does the agent you've chosen even have video? And secondly, if they do, what are they doing to promote it? And that's a big key thing for me as well. And if those things are all in place and you're happy with the way that that's going, then the last P really is the price.
Price probably matters more than everything else, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So and this is why does the price matter so much?
Well, it's because an overpriced home can stand out for all the wrong reasons. Now, don't get me wrong when we talk about this, because even we don't get it right 100% of the time. But you're relying on a surveyor to do a home report who bases it on historical information. So if the surveyor gets it wrong and actually puts it on and gives a too low a valuation, then we do have an opportunity to push that price, but only within the limitations of the seller's budget, based on how much equity they built up in their house and how much equity they've got left, and what work they need to do in their frame of mind to fix that property up to what they want. That's the difficulty. But if it goes the other way and it's too high, it can actually buyers can compare it. They compare everything, and if it looks out of step with the similar homes in that sort of category, it's just be quietly ignored. Nobody will, they'll just bypass it. And a good way to check that out is actually just go into Rightmove or Zoopla, put in a price bracket about where you think your property is in terms of the valuation, in terms of the value in the home report, what you think it is. Put that bracket in the area you're in, and then have a look at all the other houses in that bracket and compare yours against them. And don't be biased. Be honest with yourself. If you saw your listing and you saw that listing, which one would be more attractive at that price point? And if yours, then more than likely you're at the right price. If it's not yours, you might have to revise your price at that point in time, because remember, that house is competing against yours.
Correct.
But remember, it's only one buyer it needs. But if you're at a real high price point, your buyers are going to be very limited. So if somebody gets one buyer ahead of you, then you're going to have to wait a wee bit longer then, if that's the case. That's the reality. 84.3% of Fife homes that left estate agents' books in 2025 actually sold and completed. In other words, the homeowner moved. The remaining 15.7% were withdrawn unsold, or potentially they were just carried over and they're still on the market right now, meaning the homeowner hasn't moved yet. Now, there might be a couple of reasons for this, Perry. What are these? What would you say?
The first one is absolutely what we've just touched on there, and that is unrealistic pricing. If you've got it unrealistically priced at the beginning, that's a really difficult one to overcome. Because if you do go at a low price, people think there's something wrong. If you go at a high price, buyers think there's something wrong. It's really crucial to try and get that correct number. And the longer a house sits on the market as well, the more that the buyers actually question the value that they're getting for the house. They start to think that there's an issue with the property and that's why it isn't selling. So absolutely, it's really key that you look at that for me. And I think the point you made there, Jim, was a good one as well, when you talk about the fact that actually the sellers sometimes have to have an honest look at the number and be true to themselves, because sometimes we'll get, my house will sell, no bother. I don't even know why I need you. I'll sell it myself, but I'll have to have it because that's the way I get it seen. But the reality is,
who's going to negotiate the price for them?
Well, there's that.
Themselves.
Yeah, but who's going to market it? Who's going to get the reach? There's a whole benefit of reasons why you should do it. But in the main, actually, that's the battle that you have to kind of overcome with yourself and not have that mentality, because that could hinder your journey. And at the end of the day, you're only thinking of moving because you've got a reason for doing it.
Yeah. It's interesting though, it says, who's going to negotiate the price for you? People think the house is going to sell itself. Well, who's going to negotiate the price for you? And if you think it's you, when was the last time you went to a normal retail shop and actually tried to negotiate the price with them? Never.
No one does.
There you go. So how much negotiation expertise do you have as opposed to your estate agent?
Yeah.
That's why it's fatal to say the house will sell itself, because it's what it sells for that's the most important.
Yeah.
And that requires skilled negotiators.
Mm-hmm.
So track record is everything. Ask people, when you're getting people round to have a, look at your house and give you an idea of the valuation and the rest of it, ask them about examples of where they've done exceptional and why they've done it and how they've done it. Ask them how they've done that. Or is that just chance?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is.
No,
not
I
with the
think
right
that's
estate
crucial.
agents.
I think that's crucial questions you need to be asking, absolutely, to really understand where you're going. So that's the first reason. I mean, research by Denton House, and they use 20 EA data to do this, but it shows that of the 2 million UK homes that sold, most of them sold within the first 25 days of coming to market. There is a 94% chance that the sale will go to completion if it's sold within the first 25 days of coming to market. If your property takes more than 100 days to agree a sale, that completion probability actually fails and it falls to 56%. So it goes from
that is no surprise, but that's not sometimes applicable as much to Scotland, because Scotland has a different system to England. So we're talking about UK stats here, and it's primarily because I think estate agents get to a point where they'll just accept anybody and they don't start qualifying. They don't continue to qualify them and make sure they're right, because they just want anybody to take the property, and hence the reason and then buyers tend to think they could just walk away anytime they want, because that's how their system operates. Whereas in Scotland, it's slightly different. Also, I mean, when you think about the number of UK homes that do sell, these homes don't get their asking price reduced. They're realistically priced actually from day one. And are 135% more likely to get a sale agreed on them, and take a third of the time to sell, and half as likely for the sale to fall through. I mean, that's quite startling.
Half, that is quite startling. So, but it just shows you how that price point is so accurate, and it has to be as spot on as you can make it.
Yeah, so the asking price for your home is not about settling for less. It's about creating the best conditions to achieve the most money. Yeah. This is why I've told people now, and this is advice I'd give anybody right now if they were selling their house. You do not try and hit the stars immediately with your opening gambit. Not in this market. Yeah, boom period, just out of COVID. We're going like, yeah, what's the home report? 390 grand. Let's stick it on offers over 390 grand, see how we get on. Today, I'd be sitting going, stick it on at 375,000, offers over, and see how we get on. Oh, I'm not giving away 15,000 just like that. You're not giving away 15,000. You're attracting somebody to come in the door, because there's less people as vigorous about your property as you know, like, I've got to have that property, and as interested in your property as what it is today. There's a lot less people today than there was then.
And that's
And
the
that's just
key.
the way the market. That's to do a number of things like legislation come in for second homes and serviced accommodation, and also the private rental sector, and the student let sector, and the build to rent sector for the new housing act. So therefore, a lot of people are actually moving on, and also the new builds are actually, there's quite a lot of new builds in the area coming on, and that's taking all the demand out as well, because it's easy access to get a new build. So this is why you have to think about how you're going to attract somebody in. Yeah, you put a lower entry price, but then once they get the home report, they're no damn fine. Then it's a 390,000 property. They're not. Again, they're not negotiators. They're not savvy enough to say, "Well, I'll just give you 375." They usually automatically talk themselves into saying that they've got to. Oh, at this time I've got to give you 390,000 straight away. That's usually typically what happens. Now, for anybody that's a buyer there, I've just given you a real good insight into how you think.
Absolutely, and I
how
think
you
that's the
shouldn't
key.
think.
Yeah, well, exactly. But that's the key, though, isn't it? A property needs to enter the market at an attractive, genuine price that's going to grab that attention of buyers. And if it does that, then you're likely to move to sale. But if it doesn't and the property lingers, then absolutely that's where we see that value starts to leak away a wee bit, doesn't it? And that's
Well,
the
it's
key.
because everybody's interested in that property in the beginning, and then they all disappear, and then you're just back to normal turnover that comes on the market and goes off the market. You know, so you've got the huge interest in the beginning, where everybody's still it's waiting for that type of property to come on the market, and then people all decide that they maybe don't want it, so then you've got natural turnover after that, which is a lot slower in comparison.
Absolutely. And I think for me as well, the early responses to the launch of a property absolutely do give you a real quick insight as to whether or not you've priced it right, doesn't it? And whether or not that needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to say you can't try that price. I had it in Spain. You know, I went over to sell my property in Spain. The boy went, you're probably talking about 220, €220, something like that. And I went, yeah, that sounds all right. I'm happy with that. And he said, but we'll try it at 239 or something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, I do not want to try it, because they don't have home reports. I don't want to try it at 239. I'm just wanting rid of it. At that point in time, I was, but he automatically says, we'll try it at that. And I thought to myself, I ain't going to wait for a property to sell. If it comes in at 220, somebody's maybe going to pay more. So I'm not caring about putting it at 239. I'll just, somebody wants to pay more, they'll pay more. If they don't, that's fine for me. That allows me to exit and have a clean exit. I didn't put it on the market.
I think that's the key thing, though. Is you, as you say,
I changed my mind. It's too sunny over there.
I know. I'm sitting here waiting, and I'm thinking, but you've just confirmed that you're not going to be doing that now anyway. You've decided you enjoy it too much, and you're just going to stay.
my heart won over my head.
But you know what? But then again, it's about just thinking, well, what value did it bring to you anyway? It wasn't necessarily value in the monetary terms, was it? So that was your kind of rethinking. But I think that's
exactly why people buy a property, though. Why they move home, because it's nothing to do with the fact that it's the nuts and bolts of the house. It's the lifestyle they can get as a result of having that house.
100% it is that. You're absolutely right. But you're right. I mean, you can try both those angles. You know, you can go at the 375, as you said, or you can go at the 390 and try it. But if you are going to go for that 390, I absolutely wouldn't linger long at that if there's not much activity taking place. If there's slow activity at that 390 per point, because you tried to go that way, then adjust it quickly would be my guidance. Really, you want to be adjusting it in the first 2 weeks to try and keep that momentum going with the property. You want absolutely to see foot traffic coming through. And if it needs adjusting, you absolutely need to do it before that kind of 2-3 week window, not 2 or 3 months later, because actually after 2 or 3 months, it's been there a long time, and then people start to question why you're reducing the price. And at the end of the day, if the asking price gets you into the game and perhaps gets you people through your door, and you can start that negotiation, as you've rightly said, Jim, you know, you can go at the 375, you've got people in the door, before you know it, on a 390 value, you're pushing them to near the 400 or more in some instances, and that's happened, and we've had
just
that
round up to 400.
Exactly.
I would say that.
Yeah,
we'll just
I
round up
agree.
to 400.
And I think for me,
That's
though, that's
that's a
about how,
soft close. That's a soft close, isn't it?
yeah,
That's
it is.
a soft close with a smile on your face and a joke in your, a joke in your voice. We'll just round it up to 400. But it's more a let's see if they'll go for that. Let's see if they'll go for that. We'll just round it up to 400. I think I'll get you at that. I'm
Yeah,
convinced I might get you at that. But I'll try my best and get you for 400. And it's like,
yeah.
done deal.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, though, that's you've got yourself in the game because you're actually at that negotiation stage now with somebody. If you're priced wrong, then you've not got anything to negotiate with. So it's important to try and get that threshold started, because if you do then do that, what happens then is that it really does give you that. It's what drives real buyers effectively, and that's
Yeah.
what you want. You want true real buyers who are going to come along. They behave in that way. They're not behaving really on guesswork. They really want you to guide them and instruct them and coach them through that process, don't they, in the negotiation game?
Absolutely. And that's why it's probably essential for to have an estate agent that's gonna do that for you. So this is the second reason is your choice of estate agent and their marketing strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% it is. And that has absolutely a direct impact on how fast your home will sell, and whether it sells at all when we've looked at some of these
Oh,
statistics. Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it is about the marketing strategy. It's about having a clear understanding of what that looks like as well. Some people will say, well, the house will sell itself. I don't really need that much. I don't need all the bells and whistles. But what they're not understanding, it's not about bells and whistles. What this is about is getting as much foot traffic for you as we can to get the right people across the door that are willing to pay the price that allows you to go to your next stage in your life, isn't it?
mhm. I think what it popped in my head the other night about what when you said about the right marketing strategy and how fast your home will sell and proactive marketing and all the rest of it. And the one thing it really comes down to me and in terms of and it's so simple. It's the size of the board. It's I'm still amazed at how many estate agents have wee tiny tiny boards showing the house for sale, and it's like what? And maybe it looks nice when you look at it up close, but you want somebody to see it when they're walking
Mhm,
past the street, and yours is halfway down the street.
mhm.
You want them to see it that they know it, that your house is up for sale. I mean, they're never going to. They'll think your board's a birdhouse if it's so small, won't they? I mean,
Uh,
they're miles away. They're at the top of the street, and you're probably halfway in the middle of the street. And it's like if somebody looks down there, it's like, oh, somebody's got a birdhouse in their garden. That's it, really. It's you want a board that's going to just stand out and do the job.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
and immediately say, I am for sale. Hello, everybody, I'm for sale. By the
It's
way, I'll make it
shouting.
real easy for you. There's the QR code direct to the property.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you don't need to look up, you don't need to look at the homepage, the QR code to their homepage, and then you don't have to look up and find out the price point and all the rest of it and navigate to see if you can actually see the property and find the property details and then compare their details against and is that the same property? I'm not
Mhm.
really sure. Is it? Is it? No, I'm not. Oh, forget it. It's like you want a QR code, it goes right to the property, gives them the details instantly, so they're on the hook.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And the board is essential. And where that is located as well is essential for the property too. Launched the property the other day. I did the pre-portal. I was literally just left the person's property. The board was getting erected as I was doing the pre-portal. I left the property. By the time I drove from the property to the office, which was 10 minutes, the client was on the phone. Someone had walked up her driveway and knocked on our door. I see the
There
board's
you
up.
go.
And she's like, but I can't find it online. And I'm like, I haven't even launched the pre-portal yet. I've only just filmed it. And literally the client couldn't believe it. And it was because the prominency of that board was so important.
Yeah. Amazing. And it still amazes me that a few marginal people actually say, I don't want a board. Okay. You don't want to tell anybody your house is up for sale then?
Mhm.
Because that's what you're doing. You need a board.
You
30 to
do.
40% of your inquiries potentially start off with somebody seeing a board because then they
Mhm.
go away home and they look it up on the website.
Yeah.
Or if they've got the QR code, they'll go direct to the property on our website.
Especially if your property's in a prominent location as well.
And we'll be able to track that
Mhm.
and retarget them
Yeah.
with your video. And that's essential because that then gets back in front of them. That's so important to start a sales funnel. You get everybody at the top, you get them into the sales funnel, you get them down, and one pops out the bottom and goes, I'll buy it.
Mhm. It's absolutely key. But on top of all of that, as well as having all of that proactive marketing that we speak about, for me as well, it's about having that follow up with the buyers as well and giving your seller honest feedback too. Sometimes, we have to ask the seller, do you want us to sugarcoat it or do you want us to be honest? And you want to be doing that discussion really before you've even launched the property. But even though you've done that and maybe some decluttering's taken place, they've maybe renovated a room, they've painted, they've done whatever they need to do, buyer feedback is crucial. And sometimes it can be uncomfortable, can't it, Jim? You've got to kind of give that negative response to the seller because the seller's got all excited. They think they've got their person that's going to buy it, and then the answer's no. And so it's how you then feed that back to them is really crucial. And you need an agent that can really do that for you and then tell you how you can fix it, not just say, this is your problem. How can we fix the problem?
Don't tell them all the bad things about my property. Just tell me the good things.
Yeah.
It's like, I've never heard anybody say that, actually. They've just said, no, just give it to me straight. But you have to ask them for permission. You can't just deliver that to somebody and say, your house is bogging. According to the buyer, anyway. Because we would have told you that in the beginning if we'd come round to see you. So don't worry about that. We will give you feedback on it. That's why it's probably so important about getting your estate agent out earlier, even before you've decided, or you're just on the cusp of deciding, just so you can actually you can base your decision on facts. So when choosing a estate agent, it's worth paying attention. It's probably worth paying attention not only just to the fee. The fee is the incidental part, to be honest. Yeah. If you really get a good estate agent, they're going to get their fee is going to pay. It's going to be paid by the buyer, really, with the negotiation they get and the extra money they'll get for you. That's what a good estate agent does for you. That's the key. Some people get it, but some people still live in that world of broke mentality. They think it's just like, how cheap can I get you? And it's like, if you were going to have somebody operating on you, on your heart, would you go and look for the cheapest surgeon? No, because it's life and death. You have got your biggest tax-free asset you're putting on the line here, your biggest financial investment forever. And you're trying to choose a cheapie. You pay peanuts, get monkeys. It's due. Everybody knows that. It's due. And so exceptional photography, video walkthrough, proper video walkthrough, please. Somebody actually telling people about the property itself. Not just make it easy. We all watch films. But not everybody reads the book of that film. And that's the same with a estate agency. We'll all watch the video, more than likely, but we'll not all read the content. So you need to get an estate agent to incorporate the content into the video. In other words, is that a marble worktop? How do they demonstrate that is actually an exceptional standard? Well, there's the marble worktop. There's the Neff, the Neff appliances. There's the induction hob, the Bora induction hob, an extractor system. All these different things build value, added value in a customer's mind, in a buyer's mind. That is what a video is meant to do, not just. You may as well just play Greensleeves when you're going around the house with a video camera and you're not saying anything. There's no point. It does nothing that the photographs aren't doing anyway. Absolutely. Don't kid yourself. That's not video. It's video movies. In other words, walkthroughs, talk-ups. That's the proper thing. It's no longer an optional thing, these sort of things. Fife buyers need to see your home on Rightmove, on Zoopla, and they'll make a judgment in seconds when they're scrolling, so they need to catch them pretty quick. That's why our video is the first thing that comes up when you click on the property details, to get them into that funnel straight away. Outdated or poor quality images, oh, for God's sake, if you've got an estate agent comes into your house and starts taking their pictures on their mobile for their website, you are done for. Because I know you think it's going to look really great, but it doesn't replicate that well when it comes to it. You need a proper professional photographer to do it. Professional, specialist, niche. That's what you're after. So that could kill interest straight away if you have a dark photograph and dark background. Seasonal photographs are another giveaway. If you've got snow on the ground and you're sitting in the middle of summer, it's telling everybody straight away that this has been on the market for quite a while. And equally, If it's bright blue sunshine and it's beautiful roses and petals and all the rest of it, and your gardens are like a paradise, and everybody else's listing is in the snow because it's winter, then it's not gonna stand out for the right reason. Folk are gonna go, that looks out of place. And they'll not work out why it's out of place. It'll just look out of place to them. So that's probably the most important thing. And refreshing photography as the seasons change is really is a real difference. Small improvements, just small minor improvements to make that presentation often lead to a noticeable uplift in the quality and also in your inquiries as well. What's the conclusion?
Yeah, I think just one little thing I want to add to what you've said there, Jim, and I think it's a really important one, because you've spoke about the video work and all the strengths within the house, the granite worktops and the nest and all that. But I think for me as well, and this is something we get feedback a lot on, and especially now because we have such accessibility, especially in the Leadmouth area, for instance, let's use that as an example, where we've got the train station now. So many more people are coming into the area to live, but actually they might not necessarily know what the area has to offer. So the video work as well, for me, is absolutely a prime time to give everything about a lifestyle of a house. It's not just the house that I'm getting. What else am I getting? Where can I go for? Yeah, where can I go for a walk? Is there a beach close? Where's the nearest restaurant? I love playing golf. I love to walk. I love to cycle. Where are all these things? I need to commute twice a month to the office. How do I do that? And it's really important.
Somebody was on St. Monan's page just yesterday, and they were saying they're moving to East Road. What's the area like? Because they've never seen it. They've just signed the lease and they're getting the keys. So they've never seen it. They're not really sure what everything is. And I immediately put on the drone footage for West End, and they went. It just blew their mind. They went, that looks absolutely fabulous. That place, absolutely fabulous. They loved it, and it says thanks very much for sharing that. Instantly, that video told them everything they need to know about the area.
And that's
just
really
a drone footage video, markers everywhere, where everything is, where shops are, how far it is from Ely, how far it is from the airport, how far it is from St Andrews, how far it is up the road from the main shopping facilities, accompanying the video talk up alongside that. And that's what makes a fundamental difference. Let's finish off here, because we could talk about this forever.
I know we do, don't we? For me, I think selling your home, the one thing you must realise is that it is not a tick box exercise, and don't make assumptions that it will just happen overnight quite easily. You absolutely are making a life decision here, and so you want to put it in the safest pair of hands that you can, that is going to promote it the best way that it can, give you clear advice and guidance so that you understand what you're doing as a seller, and actually hold your hand through the whole process of your buyer to completion. It's not just as simple as putting a board up, putting on a website, keep your fingers crossed, sell it, and then leave you to your own devices. It's about making sure you've got that guidance through the whole process. And for me, you need that from start to finish. And actually, that might mean that your agent has to give you some home truths that you don't want to hear, but it's the best possible thing to do to get you to your end goal.
Yep, I agree.
And that would be it from me.
That's it. Thanks very much then, Perry. Thanks for having me on. That's absolutely fantastic. And
great to see you again on.
Until next time, guys, it's bye-bye from us.